There comes a moment in every person's journey when life demands a higher version of who they are. Not a stronger body, not a louder voice, but a steadier spirit. The instruction is simple. Act as if nothing affects you, not because you are numb, not because you ignore reality, but because you have. Learn to anchor your identity in something deeper than circumstances. Life will always present situations designed to provoke you, distract you, pull you out of character. People will misunderstand you, criticize you, doubt you, and sometimes even betray you. But the person who rises above these storms is the one who understands that external pressures cannot shake an internal foundation built on purpose. Acting as if nothing affects you is not pretending, it is positioning. It is choosing to respond from intention rather than emotion. It is knowing that your peace is too expensive to hand over to anyone who didn't create it. When you maintain composure, you maintain control. When you stay calm, you stay powerful. When you refuse to be moved, you become the kind of person circumstances bow to, not the other way around. Every time you choose peace over reaction, you are training your mind. Every time you choose restraint over impulse, you are growing your character. Every time you choose discipline over chaos, you are building a life that cannot be shaken. People who act as if nothing affects them are not disconnected. They are deeply connected to a purpose that cannot be interrupted by temporary storms. The real power is not in reacting, it is in restraining. The real strength is not in fighting every battle, it is in knowing which battles are beneath you. When you act as if nothing affects you, you elevate your perspective. You begin to see that the things stressing you today will not even matter a year from now. You discover that what looked like resistance was actually preparation for your next level. You must understand this. Your destiny is too significant to be delayed by your reactions. Your assignment is too important to be derailed by people who don't know your vision. Your growth is too valuable to waste on emotional turbulence. Act as if nothing affects you, not to impress others, not to look strong, but because you refuse to let anything smaller than your purpose dictate the direction of your life. When you carry yourself with quiet confidence, you create an atmosphere of authority. When you walk with inner calm, you attract clarity. And when you rise above the noise, you step into a version of yourself that is unstoppable. Stand firm. Stay grounded. Guard your peace. And walk like someone who understands that storms may come, but they do not decide your destiny. Mastering your emotions is one of the greatest forms of leadership you will ever develop, because you are the first person you must learn to lead. When you understand that your emotions are indicators, not dictators, you gain access to a level of power that most people never discover. Emotions are real, but they are not always accurate. They tell you what you feel, not who you are, and certainly not what you are capable of becoming. If you allow emotions to govern your decisions, you will live a life controlled by impulses instead of intention. But when you discipline them, they become servants to your purpose rather than enemies of your progress. There will be moments when life presses you, when people provoke you, when circumstances trigger you. These moments are not there to destroy you, but to reveal what still needs to mature within you. Anyone can be calm when everything is peaceful. The true test of character is how you respond when pressure arises. Your purpose requires stability, clarity, and conviction. Emotional reactions disrupt all three. When you react from anger, fear, insecurity, or pride, you make decisions that can cost you opportunities, relationships, and direction. But when you respond from a place of wisdom and calm, you protect not only your future, but your dignity. You must understand that your purpose is too precious to be sacrificed on the altar of temporary emotions. Every time you react impulsively, you hand over control of your life to the situation or the person who triggered you. But when you master your emotions, you take that power back. You choose who you will be in the moment, instead of letting the moment define you. This is the essence of emotional leadership, being guided by vision instead of feelings, by principles instead of impulses, by purpose instead of pressure. Mastering your emotions does not mean suppressing them. It means understanding them, acknowledging them, and placing them under the authority of your purpose. Suppression leads to frustration, and frustration leads to eruption. But control leads to clarity. The person who can pause before reacting becomes a person who sees beyond the surface. They see the long-term impact of their choices. They see what is worth responding to and what is simply noise. They see that not every battle requires their energy and not every comment requires their attention. When you refuse to be ruled by emotions, you elevate your life. People will notice your calm, your composure, your discipline. They will wonder how you remain steady when others panic. That steadiness is not natural. It is trained. It is developed through self-awareness, reflection, and the willingness to grow. Every time you choose patience over irritation, restraint over anger, understanding over offense, you strengthen the muscle of emotional mastery. And with every victory, your purpose gains more room to flourish. There will always be individuals who test your boundaries, circumstances that challenge your resolve, and events that stir your emotions. But they do not have the authority to derail you unless you grant it. Your reaction is your responsibility. And responsibility is the foundation of greatness. The more you master your emotions, the more you master your life. Because you are no longer living at the mercy of the unpredictable. You become the anchor in the storm, not the debris tossed by the waves. Your purpose demands consistency, and consistency requires emotional maturity. You cannot build a meaningful life while being emotionally fragile. You must grow into someone who can be trusted with destiny. Someone who understands that reacting to everything is a sign of internal emptiness, while responding with wisdom is a sign of internal strength. When your emotions bow to your purpose, you become unstoppable. You rise above insults, disappointments, jealousy, fear, and every temporary storm that tries to steal your peace. So make it your daily commitment to lead yourself first. Stand guard over your heart. Monitor your triggers. Pause before your reactions. Speak only what aligns with who you are becoming, not what the moment is tempting you to be. When you master your emotions, you preserve your purpose. And when your purpose is protected, your future becomes limitless. Protecting your peace is one of the highest responsibilities you have toward yourself, because peace is the atmosphere where wisdom thrives, clarity grows, and purpose becomes unmistakably clear. When your peace is disturbed, your judgment becomes cloudy, your perspective becomes narrow, and your spirit becomes unsettled. This is why you must refuse to give temporary situations permanent power. Not everything that happens deserves a seat in your mind, and not every inconvenience deserves an audience with your emotions. Many of the things that upset you today will be relevant tomorrow, but if you allow them to take root, they will produce frustration long after the moment has passed. Life is filled with situations that appear larger than they really are. A disagreement, a disappointment, a delay, a misunderstanding. These things come suddenly, burning brightly like a spark. But if you treat every spark like a wildfire, you will live in a constant state of emotional emergency. Peace is not something life hands you. It is something you guard intentionally. It is the quiet strength that says, this moment will not define me, and this situation does not deserve to consume me. When you protect your peace, you choose to prioritize what truly matters over what merely distracts. Many people allow temporary events to take permanent residence in their minds. A mistake becomes a lifelong burden. A betrayal becomes a permanent lens. A failure becomes a personal identity. This is what happens when you forget that situations are seasonal. Nothing stays as it is. Pain softens. Confusion clears. Offenses fade, but only if you allow them to pass. If you hold on to what was meant to move through you, it becomes heavier than it was ever intended to be. Peace requires release, the willingness to let go of what no longer serves your growth. Protecting your peace also means protecting your focus. Some situations are designed to distract you, not destroy you. They aim to pull your attention away from your assignment, your goals, your purpose. This is why you must learn to pause before reacting. Ask yourself, will this matter in a week, a month, a year? Most of the time, the answer is no. Yet people waste energy on things that have no lasting value, giving their power away to temporary storms. When you keep your focus on your purpose, you refuse to let temporary turbulence steer the direction of your life. Your peace is also connected to your environment, both the people around you and the conversations you entertain. You cannot maintain inner calm while living in outer chaos. Some situations only have power because you keep revisiting them. Some conflicts only grow because you keep feeding them. And some people only disturb your peace because you continue to give them access. Protecting your peace means setting boundaries that honor your emotional and spiritual well-being. It means knowing when to step away, when to be silent, and when to stop explaining yourself. Not out of pride, but out of wisdom. A powerful life requires a peaceful mind. When peace becomes your priority, you stop absorbing everything around you. You stop reacting to every opinion, every comment, every criticism. You stop trying to fix things that were never your responsibility. You begin to rise above situations rather than sinking beneath them. You learn to center yourself in truth instead of emotion, and in purpose instead of pressure. That steadiness becomes your strength. It becomes the calm that carries you through seasons of uncertainty. When you refuse to give temporary situations permanent power, you reclaim authority over your life. You choose how you will feel, how you will respond, and what you will carry. You stop letting moments write your story. You stop giving people control over your mood. You stop allowing circumstances to steal your joy. Peace becomes your compass. It becomes the space where you hear direction, where you gain insight, and where you grow into the person you are meant to be. Protect your peace, because everything meaningful in your life depends on it. Responding from your identity rather than your insecurity is one of the greatest shifts a person can make on their journey toward maturity and purpose. Identity is rooted in truth. Insecurity is rooted in fear. Identity is stable. Insecurity is fragile. Identity speaks from confidence. Insecurity reacts from confusion. When you allow insecurity to shape your responses, you diminish your own power and shrink your potential. But when you respond from identity, who you truly are, at your core you operate from a place of strength that cannot be shaken by people, circumstances, or opinions. You must understand that insecurity is not a reflection of your worth. It is a reflection of your wounds. It grows from experiences that tried to convince you that you were less than what you were created to be. It whispers lies about your value and questions your abilities. If you let those lies guide your actions, you build a life based on fear instead of purpose. But when you know your identity, you respond differently. You speak with conviction, not desperation. You act with wisdom, not panic. You carry yourself as someone who has nothing to prove, because truth does not need validation. Identity is the anchor of your soul. It stabilizes you in moments where everything around you is uncertain. When you respond from identity, you don't react to insults with anger because you know your worth isn't up for debate. You don't chase people's approval because you understand that validation is too cheap a reward for compromising who you are. You don't crumble under pressure because you know pressure is simply the environment where your true strength is revealed. Responding from identity means you decide your behavior based on your principles, not based on how others treat you. Many people miss their destiny because they live as servants to their insecurity. They make decisions to avoid rejection instead of pursuing their purpose. They shrink their voice so they won't offend anyone. They accept less than they deserve because they fear losing what little they have. Insecurity creates a cage, and too many people live inside it without realizing the door has always been open. But identity frees you. It invites you to step into a life where you are not governed by fear, but guided by confidence. Strength begins within. The battles you fight externally are always won internally first. Before you conquer anything outside yourself, your goals, your challenges, your circumstances, you must conquer the doubts that live within you. You must silence the voice that tells you you're not capable, not worthy, not enough. That voice is not your identity. It is the echo of insecurity. And you cannot build a powerful life while listening to a powerless voice. When you respond from identity, you rise above emotional reactions. You become intentional with your words, selective with your battles, and disciplined with your energy. You no longer allow temporary emotions to shape permanent decisions. You no longer allow people's opinions to dictate your direction. You no longer allow fear to negotiate your future. You understand who you are, and that understanding creates a presence that cannot be ignored. Identity gives you clarity. It allows you to see yourself as someone designed with purpose, equipped with gifts, and capable of influence. When you operate from that truth, you attract opportunities, relationships, and environments that match your strength. But when you operate from insecurity, you attract situations that reinforce your fears. Life reflects what you believe about yourself. If you believe you are small, life will make you feel smaller. If you believe you are strong, life will give you space to demonstrate that strength. So make it your commitment to respond from your identity. Anchor yourself in truth. Remind yourself of who you are, what you carry, and what you are capable of becoming. Let your actions reflect confidence, not insecurity. Let your words reflect wisdom, not fear. Let your presence reflect purpose, not doubt. Strength begins within. And when you cultivate it, nothing outside of you can diminish what is inside of you. Detaching from distractions is one of the most powerful disciplines you can develop on the path to greatness, because every distraction pulls you away from your destiny. Life is full of things vying for your attention: people, opinions, entertainment, temptations, and endless noise that clamor for your energy. If you allow yourself to be pulled in every direction, your vision will blur and your purpose will weaken. Focus is not merely about working harder. It is about refusing to let temporary interruptions rob you of your long-term progress. The person who learns to maintain focus develops the ability to see what others cannot see and to accomplish what others cannot achieve. Distractions are subtle. They often appear harmless. A social media post, a critical comment, a trivial argument, or even small worries can steal hours, days, and months of your life. And yet, these seemingly insignificant interruptions have the power to divert you from your calling. A man or woman with a vision understands that time is sacred and attention is currency. Every moment spent on distractions is a moment that could have been invested in growth, learning, preparation, or action. Therefore, detachment is not avoidance, it is stewardship of your energy, your focus, and your future. Maintaining focus on your long-term vision requires clarity. You must know exactly what you are pursuing and why it matters. Without clarity, you will be vulnerable to every whim of the world. You will be influenced by the loudest voices, the easiest pleasures, and the most immediate gratification. But when your vision is clear, distractions lose their grip. You see them for what they are: temporary, irrelevant, and not worthy of the life you are building. Clarity gives you the power to say no to what diminishes you and yes to what elevates you. Discipline is the bridge between vision and accomplishment. Detaching from distractions demands consistent effort. It demands that you rise above the temptation to react to every stimulus and instead respond only to what serves your purpose. It means limiting the things that pull at your mind and reserving your attention for the tasks that move you closer to your goals. This is not a sacrifice, it is a declaration that your future is more important than momentary pleasure. It is a commitment to yourself that you will not allow the trivial to rob the monumental from you. Focus requires persistence. The world will constantly attempt to lure you into short-term thinking. People will question your choices, criticize your priorities, and try to convince you that small rewards are more important than your destiny. In these moments, detachment becomes strength. You learn to observe without absorbing, to acknowledge without being consumed, and to maintain your course regardless of the noise. The person who masters focus is like a lighthouse in a storm, unmoved, unwavering, and illuminating the path forward. Your long-term vision is the framework of your legacy. It defines the impact you will leave, the influence you exert, and the life you will lead. Every distraction you refuse, every temptation you resist, and every moment you invest in what truly matters strengthens that framework. You are building not just for today, but for generations to come. You are creating something that will outlast the chaos, outlast the criticism, and outlast the fleeting pleasures of the present. Detachment is not just protection, it is cultivation of what is permanent over what is temporary. So make the conscious decision to guard your mind and your attention. Refuse to let distractions dictate your schedule or your emotions. Refuse to be drawn into arguments, opinions, or activities that do not serve your vision. Commit every day to actions that align with your long-term goals. When you do this consistently, Your vision begins to take shape, your purpose gains momentum, and your life moves in the direction of significance. Detach from distractions. Maintain focus on your long-term vision and watch as your life transforms into the fulfillment of everything you were created to achieve. Carrying yourself with calm authority is a discipline that distinguishes those who are destined for greatness from those who are simply drifting through life. Authority is not about dominance, loudness, or aggression. It is about presence, confidence, and control. True authority comes from within, from the awareness of who you are, the clarity of your purpose, and the assurance that your destiny is greater than any challenge you face. When you cultivate calm authority, you communicate to the world without speaking a word that you are not subject to the chaos around you. You are a person anchored in truth, not tossed about by circumstance. Life will always present moments of chaos. People will challenge you, situations will test you, and unexpected events will try to unsettle you. But the person who carries themselves with calm authority understands that chaos is temporary and fleeting, while destiny is enduring and immutable. Calm authority signals strength. It signals that you have measured the storm, evaluated the situation, and made a deliberate choice not to be moved by what is irrelevant to your calling. It is a power that cannot be taken because it is rooted in self-possession rather than external validation. Calm authority begins with self-mastery. You cannot display composure when you are unsettled inside. If your mind is fearful, your heart is anxious, and your emotions are reactive. You will be a reflection of the chaos, not the commander of it. Therefore, self-awareness, discipline, and focus are prerequisites. You must learn to measure your reactions, control your impulses, and maintain perspective in every situation. This does not mean you deny the reality of challenges. It means you recognize their presence without allowing them to define your state of being. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are the steward of your responses. When you carry yourself with calm authority, you also inspire confidence in others. People are naturally drawn to those who remain steady in the face of uncertainty. When your actions reflect control, clarity, and intentionality, others instinctively trust your judgment. They sense that you are guided by vision rather than emotion, by principle rather than impulse. This type of presence creates influence, not through fear or coercion, but through respect and credibility. Your calm authority becomes a signal that you are a person of purpose whose decisions are grounded in something greater than momentary disruptions. Calm authority also protects your focus. When you maintain composure, you are not distracted by trivialities, petty conflicts, or emotional provocation. You see the bigger picture, and your decisions reflect long-term vision rather than short-term reaction. Life will attempt to pull you in multiple directions, but the person who carries themselves with calm authority remains centered. They do not get entangled in the noise of drama or the urgency of crises that have no lasting significance. Instead, they reserve their energy for what truly matters, ensuring that their actions align with their ultimate purpose. Your destiny is bigger than any moment of chaos. Every trial, every conflict, every interruption is temporary, but your calling is eternal. When you walk with calm authority, you demonstrate that your life is not dictated by circumstances, but guided by purpose. You signal to the world that while chaos may surround you, it does not determine your direction. You are grounded in vision, fortified by discipline, and empowered by the understanding that nothing external can diminish the significance of what you are called to accomplish. Therefore, make the decision daily to carry yourself with calm authority. Anchor your spirit in clarity, stand firm in self-mastery, and walk with the knowledge that your life has a purpose far greater than any immediate disruption. Let your presence communicate power without aggression, composure without weakness, and influence without intimidation. When you do this, you not only protect your peace, you elevate your life, and you send an unmistakable message to the world. Your destiny is unstoppable, and no moment of chaos has the authority to dictate your path.